Cinema Swirl. Spooky Swirl, that is. Hello once again, back from the grave. Like Dr. Frankenstein and his zombie monster of the titular Frankenstein fame, Cinema Swirl is back. And diddly dee, it's episode 23 with my OTP. It's Sammy C.
Hello, we're back after a long 2-week break.
Yeah, it was a long 2-week break, wasn't it? Sometimes in life you watch a Catholic movie and then the Catholic guilt just takes over and you're just like, you know what, we can't do that anymore. To the best of my ability, I wanted to kill Cinema Swirl. I wanted to stop that brand. I didn't want there to be any episodes ever. So kudos to those of you who said that Cinema Swirl was dead, because that is exactly what we was going for there.
Yeah.
We've a long history of killing off popular franchises and never bringing them back. So, par for the course here on Cinema Swirl. Once again, I'm Kevin, joined by Sam here as we go through our traipse through Tinseltown and a few graveyards along the way. And we're talking about, of course, Sam seeing some of the films which he's not seen before.
I've not seen any of the films.
I think, do you wonder if people thought that, the problem was
I'd started watching films.
I just fuck it, mate. Somewhere.
You know what? Put The Godfather in the DVD player. I don't give a shit.
Well, mate, listen, put it in there. You have seen some films?
I have seen some films, yeah, sure.
But, you've not been watching the classics?
I've been deliberately avoiding the classics, yeah.
So just so you know, right, in this whole time, these 6 or so months since we've
About 7 months.
6-7 months,
yeah.
That's good, Whole time, in the back of your head, you've been like, no, mate.
Can't watch classic films. Sometimes they come up on the TV.
I was going to say, as more so than we were talking about, Jesus in the last episode, have there been temptations in the desert?
To watch a classic film.
Is the devil, has a snake been nudging you at the DVD collection, or has a snake been checking Sky Plus? Well, that's just an apple. No, it's not. It's a good film. You should check it out.
Not really. There's not been that many opportunities. I just sometimes see things on telly and I think, maybe I could watch, but then I avoid it.
It's nice to know that,
sake of the podcast.
Yeah, you've kind of accepted that you're broken.
Yeah,
this work properly.
This feels like it will happen forever now. I can't watch films.
It's kind of like when my parents realised that Teddy Wolf, my cherished childhood bear, was beyond dilapidated and they couldn't repair it anymore. They thought, you know what? It's kind of part of its charm that it's missing an eye. It's got a wonky mouth.
Yeah.
That's you, basically.
That's me. I'm a sort of broken, mangled teddy bear.
I'm just a broken down piece of meat. That's
me.
How have you been, though, in this time since? Because I think a lot of people got worried because the last episode or two, it was yeah, man, I'm giving up Pepsi Max. Life's going good. I'm scared about doing this movie about Christianity. And then nothing.
So what's happened in the intervening times? I found the word of our Lord and Saviour Jesus Christ.
That's good, because that glitch that happened before we played the movie, that was God.
Freaked me out, and that I took that as the message that it was. I've been back on the Pepsi, caffeinated up,
hitting it hard,
having a great time. Very little has changed. Still off the Pepsi, guys. Still going.
You know what? And this is going to sound horrible.
Yeah.
I don't know if it speaks to your branding, or if it speaks to the cold, callous nature of the Cinema Swirl fan base.
Yeah.
But on the intermittent times I did check out the Twitter and Facebook since, there has been a lot of I bet Sam is relapsed. I fucking bet, and they're embarrassed. That's why they're not doing anymore.
When I saw you and I said I was still off the Pepsi, you had assumed that I would have relapsed and just started drinking it again.
I thought you would have drank other things.
No,
I had this thing in my head that you would be drinking Coke Zero. I'd be but I never said I couldn't drink Coke Zero.
Technically, it's not Pepsi Max.
Or you would have caffeine-free Pepsi, and then a caffeine pill supplement afterwards.
I've had no caffeine since January.
Okay, now, because obviously, this is
film podcast.
So we have to know, for the sake of the film podcast, how do you feel? Do you feel better? Do you feel worse? Over 7 months, this is good data we're getting here.
Yeah.
How do you feel overall? Because I remember at the start you were I was really, really bad, but now I feel a little bit better. How about now overall, day to day?
Just fucking tired.
Really?
The only difference is I just sleep easier. When I go into bed, go to sleep, I'd fall asleep. Whereas before I'd be up trying to get to sleep.
Right, so you find it easier to nod off. Do you find when you wake up in the morning though?
I don't feel better. Like, I don't feel, I'm more active. I've regulated my body clock. I can...
Like, are you shitting more?
I don't know. I've not kept a record.
You've not been keeping the diary?
I've not been comparing 2015 poo schedule to 2016
I just kind of prefer the shits from Cinema Swirl like last year. I just think, the first year the shits weren't so good. The second year...
the episodes, mate.
Hey.
No.
So, I'm really sorry we haven't got like a really cool explanation as about where we've been.
Nothing happened. We just got on with our lives. We moved to different places. We've done stuff.
You moved away from where you were, and then I moved further away again still.
Yes, yeah.
To the thing in the north, which is Manchester, or Manchester. I wish I knew that before I moved. That would have been a much better pun for when I was leaving. But so, we're doing more episodes.
Yeah.
But, the boys have arrived back at their prior destination.
Yes.
I promised you earlier when you started singing, the boys are back in town today.
You'd deliver a fact.
That I would deliver a factoid. My biology teacher in year 7 was the same person who taught Phil Lynott biology. So yeah, there you go.
There you go.
It's not really a great fact though, is it?
That's nice though.
It's not like you're going to see a still image of me and Phil Lynott kind of go, did you know Paul Harmy from Castleknock taught both of these individuals?
Maybe one day.
One day.
Yeah.
I'm just saying, I'd like there to be a series of pointless fact memes. Did you know the data comparing Sam's poos before and after his Pepsi Max drought? The data is not available, so we can't make that.
Just a blank meme.
We've got a bit of a bulging mailbag,
Thank you for all your comments, questions, queries.
It's kind of like, this is going into the dusty old trailer home we've not been in, or holiday home. Yeah. We opened up and there's a slew of takeaway menus and, Virgin broadband deals.
Yes.
We're pushing our way in through the door now, and we're going to have a look through.
Get into the good stuff.
Of the mailbag. Simon Begley asks, hello sirs, in your hiatus I've had a burning desire to ask and hopefully receive an answer from both of you regarding a specific ultimatum. Simon asks, daddy or chips?
Chips.
Chips?
Yep.
Really?
Yep.
This is kind of like, I was going to say, I love about Cinema Swirl. It's kind of a nice podcast. We get to reflect on like friends and family and growing up and just chips. That's it.
I realised my dad listens to the podcast.
Yeah, that's why I was going for the...
Chips, mate. Chips.
I mean, would your dad pick himself or chips? I mean, I'd like to think he'd go for himself at least. How about my dad or chips?
Chips.
What the fuck is wrong with my dad?
Never met your dad.
He's lovely. He's absolutely lovely.
Alright, having chips with everyone's dad. Yeah? Compromise.
So what is it about chips that you think like automatically? That was a straight shot right there. You didn't even have to process it.
Straight off the bat, just chips.
Chips.
Yeah.
Like that's the gut.
I thought this was like a fun word association game where it's just like
Daddy, chips, next one. Mum or
I thought that's what all the
croquettes.
email questions would be, and you just reel them off to me. And I go, chips, done. Next one. I didn't think I'd have to defend myself.
So daddy and chips, is it close even?
Yeah, it's pretty close. Sure.
But you've obviously had this debate in your head before because you already had that conclusion.
Chips pips it.
So, any particular type of chips?
Chippy chips from the chip shop.
Could you just eat chips on their own?
No, you'd have to have some kind of, salt, vinegar, maybe.
Are you a vinegar man?
No, but I mean,
very
that's the bare minimum.
So, with your chips...
I'd go for a ketchup.
I need to kind of delve into this a bit more, okay?
Sure.
So your chips, you won't eat them on their own?
I mean, I will. I would.
Are you one of those people who's like, oh, chips and cheese, that's a dinner?
Nah, no.
Okay, because it's not though, is it? It's not a proper dinner.
It's not a dinner.
What would you dip your chips in?
Tomato ketchup.
Jesus Christ.
What?
Just so much of the chip culture I don't relate to.
No?
Fucking vinegar and tomato ketchup.
What do you dip chips in?
I don't really. I mean, I would maybe mustard, like French's mustard.
Yeah.
I like to.
Ooh la la, Mr. Fancy Man.
I mean, I'll be honest, I'm just currying favour because Christmas is coming up and he usually gets me like a nice DVD or something.
You going for Daddy?
I'm going to go for Daddy.
Yeah, I should have gone for Daddy, but it's too late
It's
now.
a little bit late. You can't say that with that finality.
I might try and edit this question.
Daddy, because it's nice. Chips are okay, but during dark moments, tumultuous moments, good moments, sad moments, my father's always there, and I think that my father's love is something that's been a constant in my life. Not chips.
No, same for me, but with chips.
Fucking chips, really?
Because you get the physical warmth.
Like one time I tried to eat my dad's and he wasn't having any of it.
Lukewarm at best.
Mate, night out, you've had a few pints, feeling a bit wobbly.
You don't go get a dad, do you?
On the way home, wrapped in newspaper. Oh, it's a bit of an old dad. You're not going to finish that whole thing. Don't worry though, because I'll sleep on the remains of my dad and wake up and dad for
Leftover
breakfast.
dad.
Way, lads. Lad dads is a whole area we've really not looked into.
Not yet.
For your records, Simon, 1 vote for dads, 1 vote for chips.
Yep.
Oven chips, is that a thing, or is it?
I mean, they're fine, but I like
microwave chips, because microwave chips is totally like a big fucking Dublin, big city living up there with your microwave
chips.
Microwave chips.
I don't think I've ever had microwave chips. I've just had oven chips or like chip shop chips.
Because with me,
or fries from like a.
You've not got a deep fryer at home then?
No.
Okay. Because for me, right, the idea of microwave chips, I just feel that is like a deadbeat dad.
Okay, yeah.
You got dad love, chips, chip love, microwave chips. He forgets my birthday. He's not proper. He's not crunchy like a dad's meant to be. You know, I kind of just feel like I'm not getting a proper meal.
You don't want micro dad.
I don't want micro dad. Sorry, McCain's. Nice try. Yeah. Connor Wiley asks, my question is, what was happened in your lives that you could make a horror film out of?
Okay, you go first.
All I'll suggest is that I used to do a radio show when I lived in Glasgow for a year, and it was very, very cold in Glasgow and very dark. It used to get dark before the sun actually even came out in the morning.
Right.
And I used to do a radio show there, and I had the coveted 2 to 3 a.m. slot on Saturday nights / Sunday mornings on
prime time.
Prime time, motherfucker. And one time when I was coming back at like 2 or so in the morning, it was so icy that I couldn't actually walk without slipping and killing myself, and there was like no proper lighting on the streets. So I had to grab onto telephone poles and slowly throw myself towards other telephone poles and slide along the ice and grab on, all the while my legs were shaking. And just before I got home, guys in a car drove around and threw a slushie and hit me in the back of the head. And I felt I was all icy, and I freaked out because I thought, ice is coming to get me. Yeah. So that will be turned into a horror movie.
That's a good horror movie.
It is, but I will kind of know, I guess that's most of my life has probably not been horror movie worthy. I guess
that's nice.
Yeah, that's all right, isn't it? Getting sick a lot. That's happened to me as well.
Yeah.
I got sick in a public place quite a few times as a kid. I don't know if that would be a horror movie.
No,
just inconvenient.
Just being sick, mate.
Unless you're really scared of sick.
Yeah,
that's not really that bad.
No. So for me, in the intervening time between the last episode and now, I briefly worked in a funeral home. It was fine. It was quite mundane most of the time. But on the first day, I got a little tour of the place, and it was like, here's the
bodies.
No, but
here's the dead.
Here's where we make the coffins. Here's where we carve the headstones. Here's the office. Here's the fleet of hearses.
Do they have 2 piles for the bodies that are going to heaven and the ones that are going to hell?
Well, the guy who was giving me the tour was like, do you want to see where the dead bodies are? And I said, do I need to? He was like, no. And I said, well, no then.
Do you think that if you said
just
yes,
you know that there's dead bodies in there, mate, don't you? Like, yeah.
You know what we put in these coffins, right? Because it ain't sandwiches. Yeah.
Yeah, so that's the only horrific place that I've been for a sustained period of time.
Do you feel you miss the trick not seeing where the dead bodies are? Because I kind of feel like
I probably should have done. It would have been an interesting
once in a lifetime kind of experience.
Yeah, I've never seen a dead body, I don't think.
You kind of like, you didn't come out of there kind of go, damn it.
Yeah.
You know, that's how you make it. That's the invisible job market. You see the dead bodies, you know, when they
That's a transferable skill, isn't it?
It is.
You put that down on your CV. I have seen dead bodies.
And I'm alive to tell the tale. I can describe them to you in any level of detail you want.
Okay, so I've got some questions from Facebook here. I asked people for spooky questions.
Breaking the molds. Yeah. Facebook.
Jamie Albrecht, do you think ghosts are real?
No, but what I think happens, right? Okay, so ghosts aren't real, but what I think is when people die, sometimes they can leave like like a spirit or a mark behind them.
Okay.
Which then makes people say stupid fucking shit like ghosts are real, and they leave spirits or marks behind them.
Okay.
Yeah.
Yeah. For me, no. Harry Green asks, were you ever emotionally scarred by a film as a child?
I think I still, I remember when I talked about it on this podcast, the whole thing about the alien, seeing that movie and then pissing myself.
Right, yeah.
I think, that was really funny. Good for laugh. I remember listening back to it a while ago. I was like, jeez, that was literally the most scared I ever was at that point in my life. So I guess... yeah. If I want to be honest, if I ever find myself in a cupboard again pissing myself, then I'll let you know, because if I start going flashback type things, then we'll know.
Keep me posted. For me, it wasn't film, it was the head from Art Attack would freak me the fuck out.
Really?
So scared. Used to hide behind the sofa.
Oh shit. I just remember one that really fucked me up as a kid, really bad.
What?
I remember there used to be, surely you had these back in the day in England here, a Protestant version of it or whatever, but we used to have movies or Hollywood Magic, and they would show you trailers of upcoming things, little snippets of press interviews, just kind of what's happening in the world of film. And they showed a preview of this movie that was coming out called The Mask, and the scene that they showed, it's this new movie starring Jim Carrey, and it's really wacky, and he gets up to all sort of mischief. I was like, Jim Carrey, I love that, and I said I was all excited, and the clip they showed of this movie, The Mask, to kind of get you in, was him putting on the mask, and you know the way it stretches over his face, he's like, bouncing around the room screaming, it stretches over and it takes him over, and then that was it. They stopped the clip, and then it was like, well, there'll be a lot of laughs when Jim Carrey's The Mask debuts in theatres this fall. And I remember going to bed afterwards and
being legit scared,
having to tell my parents, kind of going I'm so scared right now, what's wrong? It's if I close my eyes, all I can see is the
Jim
CGI, Jim Carrey being killed by a wooden mask. I don't want to sleep now or ever. So yeah, that one fucked me up.
So with that in mind, Michael Francis asks, which is more impacting in horror movies or cinema overall, practical effects or CGI?
I guess there's something about practical effects that are always extra ooky, but honestly the stuff that really scares me, I think I've come to realise recently,
is it CGI?
Not necessarily just the CGI, but it's the stuff that really gets me is not just that looks scary, or that's unsettling. It's kind of concepts or things that are that just seems so fucking miserable and horrifying. It doesn't necessarily have to be something that's visually ugh.
Yeah,
you know?
I think practical special effects,
if done right,
have a certain extra unsettling quality about them.
It's a movie we've not done yet, but if we ever do The Thing, I think that's a movie where you can kind of go, well, practical effects will have this certain kind of tactile grossness to them that just makes them so much scarier. I think in that sense, if it's done right and done to the best it can be done, I think practical effects win.
But that said, CGI can still be freaky as well.
Absolutely. Didn't you see The Avengers 2?
No, I didn't actually see it.
It was scary, man. All CGI. Aliens? I couldn't believe what I was seeing.
And one last question from Facebook, which I think is particularly apt. Toby Durant asks, has Sam seen The Exorcist? If not, special Halloween swirl, please.
Wicka. Say what?
I've not seen The Exorcist. It'd be funny if I had.
It'd be funny if I actually have it. Ew, cinema swirl over forever. So, tell me, what do you know about The Exorcist?
Okay, there's a girl in it.
Yeah.
A little girl?
Little girl.
Her head turns around.
Yeah, okay.
Does she throw up?
She does throw up, yes. Very sick.
Okay.
This is coming out, I think, something that's been parodied a lot, referenced a lot, because I think you're picking up a scene, basically, I think, is what you're...
I'm realising now that all of my knowledge of it is one scene.
And what
that can't be the whole movie.
So the scene you're talking about, the head spinning around...
The girl is in a bed.
Yeah.
She's being sick.
The doctor's been called, she's been sick, they've rang NHS Direct, and there's no help. No help.
Her head's spinning round. I don't know if she's being sick while the head's spinning round like a launch sprinkler. That would be some good practical special effects. And then she she's rude. She swears a lot. Some very coarse language.
So this episode of Teens from Hell is basically dealing with a young girl who is just a more than a handful.
A menace.
A menace to society. So she's rude, swears, you say?
Yeah, I think so. It was like a...
Well, like her head spins around and she goes, Willies!
Fucking hell.
What?
No, her head goes all the way around. She goes, oh, fuck. That was
whoa!
mental.
I don't know. It would be funny if we could all do that.
Yeah.
And we just didn't oh, wait a minute. What?
No one's ever tried it. Yeah.
I've been turning around my shoulders.
I'd probably swear if that happened for the first time. Other than that, I don't know. I know it's like an X-rated film at the time.
X-rated? So what, is sexy?
Well, no, was this before film certification in the way that we have it now?
This movie was banned in a number of countries, including, drumroll, Ireland. Because it's dealing with subjects that the Irish Film Board, which had a lot of influence from the church at the time, weren't very comfortable with. Now, that being in mind...
And they're not fine with sick, are they?
No, they hate sick, and they hate fucking teenagers swearing all the time.
So when you were saying before about it being a horror film if you were sick, that's because you were raised in Ireland where that's more of a
it's frowned upon.
Yeah.
And as we all know, the Catholic Church hates young teenagers swearing and cussing. Actually, those high pitched things, there's a high frequency, those were first actually developed in the Catholic Church. Outside all churches, there's that high pitch. The hate is
keep down the language,
keep it down, take that potty mouth elsewhere.
Yeah, absolutely.
So, do you know what an exorcism is? If we were to perform an exorcism now, you and I, just for the crack,
Yeah, just for the banter. It's getting the bad spirits out of someone, as far as I'm aware. Is it a religious thing?
It is a religious thing, yes.
So I thought it was a doctor who comes round. Or is it like a priest to get all the bad out?
All the bad out.
So there's a bad girl.
Yeah.
And they need a special priest to come in and get the bad out.
Okay.
Does she sick it out?
The priest go on, get it out of you. Go on, get it out of you.
Holding her hair back.
You'll feel better. Yeah. Hold her hair back. Stroke the back of her head. You'll feel better. Go on, out of it now. Better out than in, huh?
Yeah. I've never been so sick that a bad spirit comes out.
So a doctor or a priest is coming to get the bad out. What's the bad? Like flu?
No, ghosts.
Ghosts.
One ghost.
Okay.
I don't know. Something bad is in this girl.
There's something strange in the neighbourhood.
Who are they going to call? A priest.
A priest.
I think that... So she's probably a normal girl, but she's all fucked up from a ghost, or a spirit, or a demon.
Oh, a demon.
Or a demon.
A demon.
Or the devil himself.
Or
I don't
an orc.
know.
Or a goblin. Or a fairy. Or an ice mage.
Yeah, so they're in her... And she's been all oh, fuck this. And
how's he going to get it out, do you know? There's a classic way to do this.
In my head, the first thing that came up was the power of Christ compels you.
Yes!
Is that Exorcist?
That is Exorcist.
I thought that was that's when someone's speaking in tongues.
Yeah.
But that's kind of the same thing.
Okay, so we were getting honest now here, yeah. We're filling this out. Because I will say this is a movie that's been it's been taken and bits that have been used so much. I mean, I remember when I was younger, I wasn't allowed to watch this movie.
Yeah.
This was very much... No, absolutely not. No ifs, ands, or buts.
You're not watching The Exorcist.
You're not watching that. And if you try and order a tape of it, my brother tried to do at one point, no, no, it'll go in the fire. No, not allowed.
In the fire.
Like, people, and my family was never particularly religious, like, you know, that movie was still viewed as being like, no, absolute no. Sorry, I love the way when you're opening your water bottle there, you held it away from the microphone because you're so used to it being Pepsi Max and going tss. When you, it's okay, you're in the still water realm now, you're alright.
I turn away from the mic to breathe in.
Turn away from the mic. But that movie was banned. It was actually banned in the country for many, many years, so I didn't get to see it.
I think it was banned in the UK as well.
I think it actually extended to the UK as well, yeah. But I know the ban in Ireland lasted for fucking ages, and I only actually ended up watching it finally. I think it was when either we got Sky Movies, or a mate of mine, like, who was mad, you know, everyone knows someone who's mad into horror movies.
Yeah.
You know, kind of a guy who keeps the curtains closed all the time and has lots of horror movies on DVDs.
Yeah.
Those guys. I finally watched it then when I was like around 13 or 14.
Okay.
And it did scare the pants off me at the time.
Right.
It was a movie, though, that was made way back when. It still hits most scary movies. Like, the top list.
Still scary now.
As in, I think if you go to most of the scariest movies, video nasties,
Exorcist is up
absolutely,
there.
Like, it's up there for a lot of people.
Quick question:
Yeah.
is the you might not know this, but is the version that we're watching the one that was shown and banned?
Yeah,
it's the same thing.
Yeah.
Okay.
So we're watching.
It's not been like cut and
no. We're watching
redone.
the uncut version. We're watching that is the scary.
The release one now is actually the full uncut one.
Yeah, we're watching what is essentially meant to be a dog shit scary movie.
Okay.
So this is meant to scare the pants off us.
Right.
Now, when we've watched some scary movies before, you've had mixed reactions, I guess.
Yeah.
Shining scared you?
Yes, it did scare me.
Freddy?
Freddy was fun, wasn't he?
He was fun, wasn't he, Freddy?
It's a bit scary, but more fun.
Alien
was freaky. But The Shining is the one that is like stuck with me. It's like, ugh.
And why was it with The Shining again that just kind of when we're going into this kind of see, because it like, I don't think boo, that doesn't necessarily get you.
That's not it. Well, it does get me. If like boo,
jump scares you're scary.
I get scared, but then that doesn't last as long as something that's really like
a jump scare is not going to keep you up at night.
But the fucking bath thing, in The Shining,
the sense of dread, the unknown,
that it puts a feeling in you that just goes through the whole thing.
So, do you think you're going to be scared by this movie?
I would hope so. Actually,
have you heard the scuttlebutt about this being scary shit?
Yeah, but like, I don't know whether it's regarded as good. Or just really, really scary.
Oh, people regard it as being like an excellent film.
Okay.
And also
very scary.
Dreadfully scary.
Okay.
And for many people, this is like, you know, the Holy Grail is, and this is the scariest movie. Now, I've not seen this since I was 13 or 14.
Okay.
So what I'm most interested to see with this when we're going in is, does this hold up? You know? Yeah. Because I think a lot of times with the scary movies, we've found anyway that time is not their ally.
No. Especially with regards to effects and things. Like,
so make sure we're not watching the remake of this now, or one of the many sequels.
There's a TV show.
Yeah, I know.
Yeah.
It's a full fucking franchise.
Yeah, when I was going to legally buy it, I saw all these other links to the TV show. So,
all these other links in the DVD shop.
In the DVD shop.
That's what we call signs. They're links. They're links to other parts of the store.
Yeah.
You seem to be like a little unsettled now. Are you dreading watching this?
No, because I want to see the head turn around and the sit come out.
Keep in mind that's one scene. And how
what's the rest of the movie?
Well, that's it. Now we got 2 hours and 13
That's
minutes.
all I know. Like, the guy comes into the house, the girl's like and throwing up and spinning round. Yeah. That's all I know of it. But there must be more than that.
The theme?
There must be other locations even.
Do you know the theme?
The theme.
Very famous theme.
England. Yes. Is that so? That's the Exorcist.
That's it, yeah.
Is that Tubular Bells?
It is.
Okay.
Very good.
Yeah.
Ding. Well, Sam's going into Cinema Swirl already with 100 points. Correctly answered. You can either gamble that now by going to do a Cinema Swirl or bank what you've got. What would you like to do, Sam?
I'll take the gamble.
Let's go do a Cinema Swirl. Chaplin, you just decided to go for gold, and instead of banking your points, you went and watched The Exorcist. How do you feel?
Honestly, a bit sick. I feel a bit weird now. This was like with The Shining. I think I'm either just hungry or that freaks me out and made me a bit queasy.
Because we did actually have a decent-sized lunch and a bit of cake in town earlier, so I'm reckoning it's not that you're hungry.
No.
Are you
Freaky
feeling
film.
It's freaky?
Freaky.
Would you say just gut reaction just coming, like we're literally
Well,
just
it is
up
a
the
gut
door.
reaction.
It
I feel
is.
sick, man.
Feeling your gut,
sorry.
like. But just from coming up the stairs there now, I mean, I know when I was walking the stairs and the lights were off, I was like, ugh.
Yeah.
And I've seen that shit before. More or less scary than previous movies you think we've seen?
Scarier than Nightmare on Elm Street.
Yeah.
More like scary than The Shining, but perhaps not.
So
I don't know if it's as much enduringly freaky.
So you think that in a few hours you'll be alright, like?
I don't know. It's similar, I think.
Yeah, but you think, I guess compared to The Shining, which is more of a slow sense of dread, this is like, like there's lots of really fucking shocking, disturbing stuff being thrown at you non-fucking stop. Boo indeed.
Boo indeed.
This movie was interesting because starting it off, I did have a big concern.
Yeah.
And I was concerned that I thought this movie had an uphill struggle to scare us. Because nice afternoon, we just here been hanging out all day, haven't seen each other in ages. Yay, recording. Whoop the way.
Oh, and you thought our positivity would...
Yeah, I thought your friendship would ruin any decent scares.
Not so.
For a moment, that sickened me that the power of friendship and joy would triumph, and I thought that shit's been happening way too much recently with happiness winning. I don't want that.
Nah, sorry.
I want a miserable moment here. And I thought, because we were talking going into this, like, oh, maybe it hasn't aged so well, because I've heard people kind of ragging on the fact The Exorcist tops a lot of these scary movie polls. But for my money anyway, I do think that it's still a fucking scary ass movie.
Yep.
Because we watched it with Joe as well, and the three of us laid back watched it. It's rife for like pointing going, but the three of us were we were
quite quiet and
there's no taking quiet, and then there's unsettled quiet.
Yeah,
I could tell that it was
unsettled quiet.
Yeah, there was kind of a chill in the air, so to speak.
There were little bits where you go, but not many funny bits. Really.
I think that the bit that had you lost the most or had the least amount of impact or connection is like the opening like 10 or so minutes.
Yeah.
Kind of Indiana Jones.
I think that was honestly because I was like, this is definitely The Exorcist that we've got here.
You weren't sure, like.
Some other film.
Have you not snuck in Indiana Jones 2? Because this bloke who's walking around at the start in northern Iraq looks like one of the baddies from Indiana Jones. Some white-haired white dude looking around at old relics and dusty old rocks.
Yeah, it wasn't what I was expecting from The Exorcist for the opening scene. But it's not a bad surprise. It was quite...
Did you like the big kind of shot of the Virgin Mary statue while you watched it?
Scary Mary.
Scary Mary.
It was scary.
You took a few fucking lines of rosary beads for that type of attitude. Do you know that when I was in boarding school, I had to sleep underneath a giant ass 15-foot statue of the Virgin Mary?
I didn't know that.
It was very, very big, and my mother complained that I had to sleep under it. What if it fell on you?
Aww.
If it fell on me, you've got a pretty much open and shut case there, like, you know, I mean, you're gonna win, right? I mean, actually, if I was crushed by the Virgin Mary, think about it, 14, 15-year-old child, you know, in boarding school, crushed by the statue of Virgin Mary, most people would read that and assume it's some sort of roundabout punishment for masturbating too much. They would have thought, they would have used me to scare off other children in the future. Now, look.
You'll end up like Kevin.
You'll end up crushed with a statue of weight of Catholic guilt, physically and literally. Like. So the old man is travelling about town, and we're definitely watching The Exorcist here. I do like when the old man stares down this evil-ass statue that makes all the dogs go...
Yeah, he's digging up some mysterious tat, isn't he? Just some, like...
bric-a-brac.
Some car boot sale bits and bobs that he's found underground.
Any £5 for a pound.
So that little coin thing, that's significant.
Significant.
I don't know why.
It's some sort of talisman, I'm imagining.
There's like a little model of a
scary-looking monster
thing.
face.
And then he sees the big statue that seemed to have a dick, or like a snake dick.
There was a phallus there, definitely.
Yeah, scary thing, that thing.
Some people get really freaked out by animals freaking out. out. And
Right.
a lot of this movie seems to kind of prey on what instinctually we're meant to be afraid of or unsettled by.
Honestly, I just thought that was just a shot of two dogs having a weird fight and freaking out. I was like,
look at that statue, it's a dick. No, it's a snake.
I didn't read too much into the dogs, actually.
Yeah, well, apparently something that's meant to unsettle humans is if you see animals in distress. We're meant to take that as like a cue, like an instinctual thing almost. Could be pure bollocks.
Not human, mate.
Not Sam Chaplin, no. You're a lizard disguised as a human. So we head to our main setting, which is Georgetown. A lovely little quaint area where nothing terrible or could possibly go wrong.
From that opening shot, it does look proper grotty, Georgetown. It looks a bit...
I love that because you said at the start, you're like, oh, it's Lincoln.
It looks like Lincoln from outside. And, all respect to Lincoln, but it's Lincoln.
There's a roundabout way of praising our life choices. We've both moved away from somewhere that's grim.
And that was one of the instances. There were a lot early on of like the slow zoom.
Yeah,
the film employs a lot of zooms in and out quite often throughout the film. It was fine. Yeah, I'm okay with the zoom, but I noticed it stuck out.
At the start, you were ragging on the zoom.
Yeah,
I was worried it was going to become a star wipe almost type.
It kind of felt like that, which is fine and it's okay. But it's the thing that stuck out that made
took you out of your suspension of disbelief, I guess,
for a second, and made me think about how the film was made. And
that's interesting because I was definitely on board with that at the start because you pointed out, and of course I, like the non-media graduate, fucking notices this.
Yeah.
Thanks a lot, media graduates everywhere for fucking ruining shit, But anyway, I was into that and I was like definitely noticing it. But then around like halfway through or even a third of the way through, I stopped noticing it because I realised that I was probably too
There were probably loads of zooms, but I just was too freaked out to notice it. But at the start, when you're like, oh, he's in Iraq, oh, we're in Georgetown, what's going on? That's when I have the time to be like, oh, there's a zoom there, another zoom.
Yeah, I'm not scared. I can be a prick. So we meet Mum, and Mum checks on her daughter, and we have a very nice idyllic relationship between Mum and daughter Regan. This lovely little kid seems sweet as a button. Mum seems sweet as a button as well.
I mean, the mum is like a bit mean to
kind of distant,
servants.
I guess, ways. Oh yeah, that's true.
Because she's a celebrity, isn't she?
She's an actor, yeah.
Yeah.
So she's kind of, you see her at the start when she's doing all these kind of scenes and stuff, but she doesn't treat the help particularly well.
No, and I noticed that a couple of times throughout. That she's nice to her daughter and obviously cares about her very much, but with other people, she's a bit snooty, a bit mean. So that was the servants, and later on, like the operator or something, she's properly rude.
And it's almost as if she deserves this, is what you're saying, Sam.
I'm saying if you're a bit rude to, service staff, then you deserve for your daughter to be possessed by the devil.
You did this thing like cautionary tales for adults. If you're rude to service staff,
well, that's what I took from the film.
We'll come and get your daughter. And
we won't get you. We'll get your immediate family.
We know your weaknesses. We know where you're vulnerable.
Yeah. We get the iconic theme pretty early on. The mum is like walking home from somewhere.
Yes, when she's coming back from the siege. Some people can hear that and not get freaked out.
I don't think it's a freaky theme. I think it's fine. It isn't scary to me. I like it.
When I think of that, I think of The Exorcist, I guess.
I think I've heard it in isolation from The Exorcist in other stuff.
I was at dinner once with my dad when I was like 15. We went to the seaside for a few days at a hotel. Yeah. And me and my dad were having dinner and had a nice restaurant in it. And a pianist came on and he was playing some tunes and all that. And my dad was like, oh, there's that song, there's this song. Bit of a music fan.
Did he break into...
Randomly, I know he broke into Tubular Bells. And I went really, really quiet.
Is that song from The Exorcist or is it a song...
No, it's its own song. It absolutely is.
Right.
I mean, people do view it as its own song. Because my dad was like, oh, Tubular Bells. That's it. Yeah. My dad definitely wasn't an Exorcist fan. But I remember me and I'm looking around and thinking, how many people in here right now are thinking about the fucking horrible shit in this movie? Like, who here else can't focus on the chowder right now? Because I'm one of them, And I bet the penis is there going, ha 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 ha, thinking of Selma Blair with that crucifix, ha ha ha, loads of sick and calling people cunts, ha 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 ha. I'm going to ruin your meal.
But no, I think I'm alright with it. I'm okay. I think still won't really associate it with it. I like it as a piece of music.
I guess you got a lifetime of enjoying the song before you had this association.
Yeah.
Can't say the same for myself. So the kids just hanging around at home, asked for a horse. Devil! Devil!
Oh, Mum. can we get a horse?
I love that the question is kind of with this is like, at what point is there a devil? Do you think there's a little bit of
I think the
there?
horse was like a request from the devil.
I'm just saying, like, I want a horse
to sacrifice.
I love to ride around. Its hair is so pretty.
No, I think at that point she's a cute girl, just wants a horse because she's got rich parents and is like, I'll have a horse.
Have a horse.
Yeah.
I want to give my daughter a horse, so I'm buying as many Findus lasagnas as possible. Just stockpile and I'll put them all together.
In the shape of a horse.
Well, I'll skim off all the kind of cream and the weird crusty stuff from the top, and then I'll mould the horse out of the red bit.
I mean, that is probably more horrific than what we've seen in that film. Like a facsimile horse made of like frozen lasagna and mushed together.
Just saying, next time you go to Iceland, you hear just imagine me making a hell horse out of lasagna. And we introduced to our priest, Father Karras, who has pretty much a shit life. His mum is sick, he's not enjoying his job. He has got the unenviable task of being the psychiatric consult for a fucking church of priests. Can you imagine the shit this man has heard? This is great. It's like a movie which, like, in the future, it's like, oh god, even worse what he's heard. Oh, is it people questioning their faith and being a bit homesick? No, it's battling with much worse shit than that. His mother is fierce ornery.
Ornery?
I know, that's my new word I'm using.
What's ornery?
Ornery, like a mule is ornery. Like, I want to do this shit. Like, I don't want to be looked after.
Stubborn?
Stubborn.
Ornery?
Ornery.
Ah.
I think that's... God, I hope that's what that word is. If we're going to find it as like sexy or something like that, everyone's going to think I've got the hots for this.
Feeling ornery.
Feeling ornery is a different thing.
He visits his mum's dinky little flat and she's all sick but doesn't want to go and get the proper help that she needs.
Of course, we've all been there. The girl is at home doing arts and crafts, and she's a Ouija board.
A Waluigi board.
I'm just saying, right? Arts and crafts are a gateway to Ouija, which is a gateway to the devil.
Yeah.
So no child of mine is going to go near beads. Art. No, maybe some arts. But definitely no crafts.
Well, you know, when all the arts funding gets cut, I'm going to be happy because we've not got that linked.
Mate, when the Tories cut the crafts funding, that's when we know shit has really hit the fan. Whoa. Paintings and pottery, whatever. But you're telling me you're getting rid of fucking crocheting? Are you shitting me, Cameron? Seriously?
Back in my day, every kid would get a Ouija board given to them on their 10th birthday by the government, but not anymore.
Not anymore. In my days, they pay you to have a Ouija board. Think about that for a moment. Have you ever had any experience with Ouija?
No.
Never even...
Because it's a fucking horror movie thing and it makes everything go wrong. I'm not going to do it. I know it's a goof. I know it's not real, but I'm not going to put my fingers on the little doodad.
You're not going to put on the doodad?
And move it around the board so it tells me that there's a dead person there. I don't want to do it.
You don't... It's actually scary, the idea of that.
Well, should we do some bonus content while we play with a Ouija board?
Yeah. I only had one experience with a Ouija board. I got my best mate back home, Paddy. I bought him a Ouija board, a Hellboy-themed Ouija board, because I thought it looked really nice. A really nice laid-out Ouija board. And I got him that for Christmas. And then that Christmas, he and I got, like, literally paralytically drunk. And then we're like, let's use the Ouija board. Let's contact Chris Benoit. And then we were too scared. So we didn't follow through on it. That's my only experience.
So, we can touch on this later, but recently I've started working at a cinema.
Oh,
There's
really?
a film out now called Ouija, right? Which is fine. So I deal with people who are buying tickets and will say the name of the film. So usually I get like Ouija.
Ouija.
That's what I was going to
Oh shit, sorry.
Sorry.
It's okay.
No, it's fine. Just one woman came and was like, Ouija.
Just walking.
And I was like... Yep. Let me put that through for you.
Sorry, this is like the worst Pokemon noise ever. Oh no, a wild Ouija appears.
Ouija! Ouija wanna be doing that. Right. She's been playing with Ouija boards.
Play Ouija boards. They
Not
have a
good.
cute moment in bed though, don't they? Where they're like, you know, your birthday's on a Sunday this year.
Yeah, that'd be exciting, yeah.
Very nice. And then she's like, you know, like that Burke guy, huh?
He's a bit of a Burke, isn't he?
What? The name Burke?
Burke Jennings.
As I've been told plenty of times since moving to the UK, if I'm going to come over here, I better learn to speak the fucking language, mate.
Yeah.
That's what I've been told. That was actually on, like, when I came into England, there was a giant banner overlooking in the docks that said, you got to come here and speak the fucking language.
Yeah.
So I've obviously, you know, trying to ingratiate myself with your culture, learning words like Wazzock, Burke, Biv, Bin.
Orny.
Ornery. Oija. What is a burk?
Right, burk is an insult, and it comes... Do you know where it comes from?
I have no idea.
Right, you know Berkshire, which is spelt Berkshire. And right, Berkshire Hunt. It's Cockney rhyming slang for a rude word.
Oh, I see. For see you next Tuesday.
Yeah, I think so. That's where I've been told it's from, because they used to be like...
So, a burk is kind of a roundabout way of saying that.
Yeah, but it's a much softer way for, you know...
It's twice removed.
Yeah.
It's a removal of the Cockney rhyming slang, which in itself is a removal.
Yeah.
God, that's not a safe padding and layers. That's okay.
So, like, kids will call people Burks, but I think ultimately they're calling each other cunts.
Is a biv a real one, or did I just make that up?
I think you made up Biv.
Okay, I made up Biv.
Keep using Biv.
Keep using biv.
And eventually, if we get it published in enough things, it'll go in the dictionary.
How about wazzock?
Wazzock's a one.
What is a wazzock?
Well, Wazzockshire in...
But like, I remember being obsessed. You know, I was obsessed with the word wazzock.
Yeah, it's a great word.
Because you told me, and I was convinced you was like made up. Like,
No, but it's real.
Because I know a lot of my words from like the Beano reading as a kid. Like, I know what a chortle is.
Yeah.
I know what a tee-hee is. You know, I know
mostly laughter.
I know what a mum and a dad is. I know that it's tradition to beat a child with a slipper, all because of the Beano.
But a wazzock.
But a wazzock
Funny word.
sounds like something from Dungeons and Dragons.
Yeah.
Yeah. Plus 3 wazzock.
Do you know gubbins?
Gubbins?
Yeah.
No, hang on. No, gubbins are baddies from something.
Are they?
They're little grub things, aren't they?
No, I thought they were just like little bits and bobs.
Oh, gubbins.
Like, get all the gubbins out.
What's a cranny? That's another thing.
Oh, it's similar to a nook.
Okay, alright. Like, this is really... I can't believe you
It's just a small gap.
You know, I've been here all this time and you never think to ask.
Yeah.
I know.
Guys, what is a cranny? Am I right? Is this thing on? What's the deal with crannies?
But she starts talking. She gets a little bit feisty here. Reagan's
She's talking about Burke and
the director who her mother's working with.
Yeah. And there was one line which is like, "Oh, you like him, don't you? You wanna marry Burke?"
Ooh.
And she says, "Of course I like him. I like pizzas too, but I'm not gonna marry one." Which is like a solid line.
Advice.
I love that.
But it's great life advice.
Yeah.
Kind of like pizza, but you gonna get married? You gonna settle down? You gonna have kids?
So,
you gonna have a joint account with a fucking pizza? I don't think so. Okay? When you're working a full-time job and trying to raise 2 kids, where the fuck's pizza gonna be?
Yeah.
On the table. Okay?
Where's the money gone? And you just come home and there's a big pile of garlic and herbs. Yeah, it's like,
I don't know. Stop with all these questions. So we have the priest now having discussions about how he's lost his faith, essentially.
Yeah.
And because his mum is sick and he has to deal with all this horrible shit, that he doesn't believe anymore that there is a God or that he should be serving in the church. So we're getting introduced to the fact that our priest is not necessarily...
There's a lot of doubt there.
Exactly. He's a damaged fellow, as they say. Now, we heard earlier on that there's been noises in the attic. Do you think there's rats up there?
Yeah.
Which the Nazi butler's like, of course there's no rats up there. So, of course, in the middle of the goddamn night when the lights are working, she decides to pop up into the attic. And this was the moment where I started hearing the
From me.
From you and from Joe, who was also watching with
Now
us.
that's because when you're exploring a dark room by candlelight, something's going to jump out at you.
Yeah.
Like, you can feel it.
Were you expecting jump scares?
Yeah. Well, I don't know, but in that kind of scene, that is set up for...
horror.
Proper... Sorry, guys, but proper, like...
You do this Don't say sorry, because you're not going to change your behaviour. You've done it like fucking 10 times.
Sorry. But, the proper, like, dark room, quiet jump scare. And there is one, but it's just...
It's not the jump scare you expect.
No, it's like a comedy jump scare, almost. It's just the butler,
But the candle, flame shoots up on it. It's like, whoa.
Don't know what that is.
Some sort of demon candle, I'm assuming.
But then the Nazi butler man is just like, oh, there's no rats up here.
It's fucking... It shows you that the movie has a great sense of atmosphere, that they can take something as tried and tested as going up into a dark room at night, even without a styra, one of those pull-down stairs things.
No, right. The thing about that, when she goes up there, she pulls down those stairs, the noise it makes is really familiar to me, because we've got one of those at my mum and dad's house, and when that comes down... that more than anything in that scene freaks me out because I'm like, that is familiar. I know what that sounds like, and it's
Ever been in an attic and scared?
Yeah.
Attics are scary places.
They're dark.
I just know them with positive memories of the attic because the attic is where all like my toys and shit that I had to put up there when I didn't have any more space.
Yeah.
And I would often just go back to the attic and be like, Star Wars, way, and then go back down again. So joyful place for me. Joyful
for me,
place.
it's like there's just loads of suitcases up there, but I think like
what's in those suitcases?
just full of spiders or something. I don't know. It's horrible.
We have a priest taking out big bunches of flowers, which I can only assume are for the Teen Catholic Pageant Award winner later on in the show.
Yeah.
But we have the statue of Mary, which has a big willy and nipples and loads of blood.
Oh yeah. That's not really explained, is it?
I think it's used as like a thing where later on they mention they're like, oh, the desecration that happened in the church is that to do with witchcraft?
Right.
I think it's like meant to be either taken as there's shit going on, or that it could be like sign that there is an evil presence around that in the nearby church it's been desecrated or whatever.
Yeah.
But you don't do that to the I mean, I'll be honest, if the statue of Mary over my bed had that giant willy and bleeding nipples, I think there would have been other conversations having other than it might crush him, it might warp him, might be more.
That would be very difficult to keep masturbating underneath, wouldn't it?
Absolutely. I mean, come on now. This ominous fucking structure over here. So the kid gets taken to the doctors to get tested.
Is that because her bed's been shaking and she's freaking out a bit? Is that all it is?
She's been acting up a little bit. She's been talking back, bit of sass. She had to sleep in the bed because she's like, oh, my bed is shaking and all that kind of stuff.
That's just kids being kids.
Just kids being kids. But it turns out when she gets tested that her problem is that she's fucking surly. She's not a fan of these doctors.
No. I think this is the first instance of like a flash of the devil or the demon thing.
Absolutely.
Which is pretty disturbing, those little...
You get it through like the doctor. I love the way they don't just go full on straight away like, it's saying something horrible. You hear it from the doctor, because the doctor's like, she's swears like a longshoreman, this one. And like, what do you mean? He's like, well, they told me to get my hands off her cunt. And it's like, whoa there. There's a grown-up word.
That was I didn't expect the C-bomb to be dropped so casually in this film, but I guess that's why it's
rated
controversial. They've gone like balls to the wall straight away with everything. If we're going to have the girl with her head spinning around vomiting, let's throw in all the swear words.
Hey, we're all having fun when her head was spinning around, but you didn't need to say that word.
In for a penny. In for a pound. Let's do this.
She's diagnosed.
Yeah.
Well, I say she's diagnosed. They give her Ritalin because we don't know what's wrong with her. They're like, wait a minute, she's hyperactive. Ritalin's a stimulant. Yeah, but it like works and stuff.
Yeah, that's literally the doctor's explanation. It's just like, we don't know why it works, but it works, so have it.
Like, shouldn't she see a psychiatrist? Only after you use this thing that we don't know what we're using.
Sure, there was another film we watched that had like a useless doctor who was just like, nah, I'll be fine.
This is the 70s and mental health and stuff.
They didn't know.
Yeah, it's really, really like it's a mixture of not knowing and also not being open to the possibility of there being other things in play. Now we know about demons. This shit doesn't happen anymore. I'm so happy that people can get the proper diagnoses that they need. You know? The priest goes to see his sick mother, and him and his deadbeat brother have got no money for a private hospital. So
that whole story escalates quite quickly with the mum. So, like, as far as I can tell,
in there, isn't it?
When he first goes to the dinky flat, she's got like a bad leg.
Yeah, bum leg.
Yeah, and then from bum leg, she goes to like mental hospital.
I think what's happened is that this takes place over the course of a few weeks. Right. All this stuff that's happening, and because the scenes are quite bam, 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 and you're going between the two characters and the two stories, I think you think, it's happened at the same time. This is the next day, or whatever. But it might be a few weeks later. Forward. We then have an opulent party, an outlandish display of excess in all its many forms. They even have a Nazi.
Yeah, so Burke's there.
He's a bloody.
Of course, he's there. If it's an opulent display of all sorts of stuff, then he's going to be there.
It seems like quite the party.
Getting big pissed.
Big pissed. Yeah. I mean, we've all been there. We've gotten really pissed. And
start slagging off a Nazi.
Start slagging off the Nazi. Like, sorry, look, we don't mean to disrespect your Nazi culture. It's just he's had a few drinks.
You fucking Nazi bastard, mate.
It's alright, mate. It's alright. I only have a few drinks, mate. I'm sorry, mate. We're not like this normally. We don't hold ill will.
He's not worth it, mate. He's not worth
it. He's not a real Nazi, mate. He's not worth it.
And is he actually a Nazi, or is he just a German man who happens to work there?
I don't know.
Yeah.
I mean, I think it could be a little bit of both.
Yeah.
Maybe he was like, he's from that because it's the 70s and he's an older gentleman and he's post-war. And I think that's actually something that probably a lot of post-war German immigrants probably almost definitely.
A lot of racism.
Yeah, I mean, absolutely. Good lord. So the girl comes in and ruins the party with "We" and talk of death. Now, it's really funny because I've been to a lot of parties where people have pissed everywhere.
Yeah.
And that's not really stopped proceedings. It's more like,
but this
only bloody pissed his drawers. Can't take his ground. That kind of thing.
Once Burke's been sent home for bad behaviour,
he's been eliminated from the Big Brother house.
Everything gets a lot more cheery. They all gather around the piano, have a little sing-song. One of the priests is playing piano. And then the girl comes down. So it's not like there's a raucous party and she's just standing there pissing. Like, this is a really inopportune moment.
Yeah, this is when the party is winded down in a weirdly good way. Alright, picture this.
Never happens in real parties.
In real life, the person who reaches for the instrument and everyone come over here. Yeah, as fucking if this is the reality, everyone's like, oh, thank fucking God this girl's come in and pissed and talked about death. Because this prick's been playing songs for hours. And the first one, we were polite and he can play, obviously, but now it's song 6 and I kind of want to talk to that person now.
So anyway, guys, here's Wonderwall.
It's nerves and that's all there is.
Does she say, like, you're gonna die?
She says you're gonna die up there.
Up where?
Up there. I think he was talking about wanting to go to heaven and all this stuff. And she says you're gonna die up there. The reality is she could be talking to other people, I guess. But they go to the doctors again, and the doctor is like, just nerves. That's it. Right. If you go to the doctors this day and age and someone tells you that it's a touch of nerves and that's it, then fuck that shit. Seriously. That ain't good enough. Because I'm pretty sure as a kid that I was given, they're just nervous, that's okay. And I probably didn't have just nerves.
No.
So this was kind of like, you know what, these doctors are really fucking missing the point here. This kid is sick. Then the bed, when they go back to the house,
legit fucking shakes.
Wacky bed.
Yeah.
It's like Screwball Scrabble, that one where it's like, whoa!
See, that's a special effect, I guess.
Yeah.
But it doesn't look fake because it's such an easy effect, I guess.
The director of this was very much one who was going for the idea of legitimate reactions and following some of the old-timey, old Hollywood ways of doing things, which is, not telling people shit, know, and then getting their legitimate reactions. Now, apparently, the girl who played Regan, Linda Blair, she got fucking tossed and turned all over the place. They had her in harnesses, like, pulling on her different directions.
Right.
And, like, including on the bed there where she's fucking writhing around and shit. That was really fucking horrible stuff. And a lot of that was kind of, something's going to happen, and maybe not the full extent of what is going to happen being revealed necessarily.
They wouldn't tell it to Regan or, like, the other people?
They wouldn't tell it to Regan or to any of the actors. They would try and get, like, legit reactions. And apparently there was all this talk that, like, Regan and her mother, particularly those characters, they came away with loads of fucking bruises and shit, and actually serious injuries in some cases when they were using these pulleys and these harnesses and fucking thrashing them about everywhere. Yeah. It's fucking horrible, like.
It does just look cool, though, doesn't it?
It does, doesn't it? It's very cool. So now, here's the thing. Back to the thing the guy asked earlier, CGI versus real effects. There is something to be said, the fact that it's a tactile real thing, and in the back of your head, it's like, this is 1973.
That is a girl fucking moving around.
That does make it a lot scarier.
That bed is shaking.
Yeah, that's something that you're seeing, and that's like, you're never going to get that in movies these days anymore.
No.
Probably for the better in the long run, but it does make watching stuff like this a lot more, scary, a lot more concerning, I guess, looking back.
Definitely.
The priest's mother dies, and he is sad. When?
Yeah, he has this weird, like, dream
that
sequence
dream
thing.
Is so fucked up.
The death thing happens way too quickly for you to even notice it, I think.
If I wasn't in full cinema swirl, pay attention to lines and shit mode.
Oh, she's dead?
I wouldn't have picked up on that. She was
like,
dead. It's like, oh yeah, she's dead.
In the hospital. Oh, we need to get her to a proper hospital. She's dead. Like, that's...
And she was found, like, a few days late, like, after she died, all smelly and stuff.
Yeah.
So, priest is pretty much beyond sad and fucked up.
The dream thing with the devil and, like, a subway thing?
Yeah.
I think.
Yeah, so when she sees her at the subway, she's calling out to him.
Yeah.
And you see, like, the flashes of the devil. They use a lot of the kind of little flashes.
Subliminal.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Which, if you think about it, overused now, back in the 70s.
Yeah.
And again, I think it was the alarmingness or the shock of seeing these types of things in this movie from the 70s, which actually stand to make it even a little bit more scary now, I think. think, as opposed to, oh, that's just some overplayed old flashy type thing. It's like really unnerving, I guess. The flow of the movie is interrupted by these flashing images. Like, they do it loads.
Even if it's been overdone, like subliminal stuff like that, where it almost feels like you haven't seen it, but it definitely was there. But you like,
I guess because
it's always going to be freaky.
They're so fucking scary. The images they flash as well. Oh god. So the girl's back at the doctor's, and she fucking starts spitting on them when they're giving her medicine.
Proper violent and sweary now. She's into it.
Yeah, they conclude that she's fully mad, and the mother's like, yeah, but like the bed was thrashing around last night.
And still at that point, the doctors are saying it's not the bed, it's her brain. But the mum has seen it. The mum was on the bed and it was moving, and the doctors are still going, brain though, isn't it?
You know what pisses me off as well? Like,
brain, mate.
If you're going to your doctor at this day and age, right, and your fucking daughter's bed is thrashing around,
and the doctor's having a cheeky cigarette as well, and I'm like,
unbelievable.
You're a doctor, mate.
But if you're going there and they turn around with the diagnosis saying the reason that bed is shaking around is because of their brain, that's fucking bullshit, okay? That's not good enough.
Brain bed.
Brain bed. Mind over matter. So she gets...
Mind over mattress, mate.
Way! Okay, so she gets a brain scan, and I'm very happy that we're not living in the day and age where machines that are designed to scan and inform are the stuff of nightmares.
The way they shot that scene and the sound on it is
the mowers, the clunking,
loud. And I imagine it still is now a little bit if you have like scans like that.
Maybe like an MRI, you hear the clicking and the bang.
Yeah,
and, you're going into the tube. It's a bit scary comparatively.
And there's needles into the neck.
Yeah,
I really don't like.
That's fucking horrid.
I'm not great with needles, but needles into the neck is a gross thing. I don't know
why.
Of
those sensitive areas, like where shutting down. I think a lot of what happens in this movie is that it does kind of establish off the bat that stuff that you think wouldn't be shown happening to a child solely because they're a child, they don't do any of that. They don't abide by the rules of cinema.
They just go for it.
Because even if you're watching a very nasty 18s rated movie these days, if there was a kid in it who's going to be given like a needle, they wouldn't show you the kid getting fucking stabbed and blood coming out of the kid. No way in hell it wouldn't get a release anymore. Like, you kind of can see, like in the 70s, why this was fucking banned. Sacrilege aside, no way.
There's a lot going on.
Yeah, unbelievable. So we come to the child, poor Reagan, convulsing in her bed, screaming, "Make it stop!" Oh God, it's fucking horrible. Her neck,
swollen neck. Horrible.
Starts screaming fuck me over and over, these guttural screams.
That's the first time we get the voice, isn't it?
Yeah.
I've just written like very scary underneath because it was legitimately very scary the first time you see that.
Do you, on your notes ever, when something makes you really sad, draw a sad face?
No.
Because it's something. If you're somebody who maybe got one of our t-shirts over on Etsy where we send off a few notes alongside it. But I do that. I'm just going to count up quickly here now. There's 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. There's actually nearly one per page of notes.
That's probably a record.
That is a Cinema Swirl record, just for the note. Just keeping track there of the internal logic of this show.
Sadness rating.
There's a lot of, for lack of a better term, mansplaining here from guys who don't know what the fuck they're talking about.
Yeah.
So the reason she's got like super strength is because of her temporal lobe. Yeah. Bullshit.
It's still looking like brain stuff, I guess, is the reason that they're giving for everything.
And they still haven't went to a psychologist. They're like, oh no, only a last resort. Like, in all my many years as a doctor and brain professional, I've never seen such a case of the nerves.
But the scans don't come up as anything.
They're all blank, yeah.
There was the scene where the actual scans come up onto the screen. They stay there for quite a while.
To the point where we thought the audio had blacked out.
Back down. I don't know why it does that, but that is a thing that stuck out, and I can't tell whether it means something or whether it's just there because it's there and there's nothing in the brain. Well, not nothing in the brain, but you know what I mean. Scans blank.
I think they're showing that there isn't because they thought it might be a tumour or growth or something like that, and they're ruling all that out.
That's probably just saying to the audience, this is not a physical thing.
Because I think a lot of
something more than that.
Because I think the big thing with exorcism is the fact that 99.999% of of exorcisms that happened back in the day were people who had things like epilepsy and things like that. A lot of demons very easily explained away these days, so I think they were kind of doing that with that in mind, saying, look, no, it's not what was always misconstrued as being in need for an exorcism.
And I think, or at least I'd imagine, that a lot of films like this, often when it's scary stuff like this happening, in the end it will be able to be explained away by something like that.
It was just a doobity-doo.
But that, they get it out of the way, and it's like, this is actual possession,
and
freaky, deaky, horrible shit. Yeah.
You notice as well, when we cut back into Regan's room, how people are coming in, they've got the breath coming off of them. The director actually made it into a cold room and froze it all up, and you could tell a lot of the actors when they were going in the first time, so we could get that legit. It was shoot cold.
Well, that was my first day at Asda, where they put me in the giant fridge.
Back when you were a chilled picker.
Chilled picker. Yeah.
So Burke's been killed. He fell out the window.
So he was looking after Regan?
Yeah, so Mum comes back and the help is away, because the help was like, well, Burke was here and said he'd look after her, so here we go.
Yeah, we'll just let Burke come and have a look after her. I don't trust Burke anyway, but...
I'm glad he had his head ripped off and thrown out the stairs.
Yeah, he's dead.
He's dead. He's well dead.
Yeah.
And while they're kind of, lack of a better term, when they're processing what's just after happening, I think the scariest thing in the movie, which is when Regan does the Bray Wyatt crab walk down the stairs with the blood coming out of her mouth.
Really quick.
Yeah.
That's the thing.
That's so fucking scary. That is so fucking scary.
If she was doing it slowly, I don't think it would be quite as scary. It's the fact that it's like
because if Bray Wyatt is there like that, I kind of know at least, right, I can get away from you. I can't outrun you, Bray, when you're upside down, very carefully, not trying to fall over like
just
you did that time.
For non-wrestling fans, Bray Wyatt is like a freaky cult leader wrestler who does the crab walk thing.
Yeah.
That's one of his moves.
Your mother sucks cocks in hell.
Yeah, and he scuttles away.
Yeah. So the psychiatrist comes. I love that the crab walk is when we kind of go, right, now... Psychiatrist time, okay.
Upside down crab walk, blood coming out of the mouth as well.
Yeah, there's blood coming out of her mouth. I'm said for a psychiatrist, I think. So the psychiatrist kind of establishes that Regan doesn't claim to be themselves, that there's something else inside them. So the psychiatrist is like, well, can I chat with the person inside you, Regan? And Regan grabs on and tries to rip off his willy. He grabs onto that thing. Fucking tries to pull that shit right off.
Straight for the ghoulies.
Straight for the gold right there.
Yeah.
So, psychiatrist, obviously no good at the job. Can't even handle a simple willy grab, so he's out there on his ear, you know. We then cut to Rocky. You, Mickey, you throw my soul out there on Skid Row. You take my bags, you take my soul, you put it out on Skid Row. The devil could just pick it up like that. I should have broke your thumbs. He looks proper like Rocky.
Properly.
And then the detective comes over and he takes off his hat. He's like, boy, you're basically a boxer, aren't you?
Yeah.
Father Rocky. I would have went to mass all the goddamn time.
That would have been nice, wouldn't it?
Except Father Heaney got killed by Father Drago, so I could no longer go to mass. That's why I kind of lapsed to my Catholicism. So our detective meets the priest and he wants help to solve Burke's murder, because he's kind of figuring that somebody has their head ripped around the back of their head and thrown out a window inside a kid's bedroom and there's no one around.
Yeah.
Might be a little suspicious.
So the story is that Burke fell out the window, but really his head is the other way around.
Yeah, so he's like a strong man needs to have done that. So not a little girl. No. And then he's chatting with him. He's putting the fucking chat on Father Karras, and then he's basically trying to start a fucking podcast with him.
Yeah, he's like, do you like film? Do you want to chat about them, critique them, discuss them? What a weirdo.
What the fuck?
A freak.
So,
what a douche.
Do you ever get worried that someone else might do a film podcast?
No, that won't happen.
I mean, I'm really happy we've carved this niche out for ourselves. I am concerned. If these two can do it, and that's the 70s, I guess it's just good fortune that we're the only one.
Yeah, we are.
Does that bullet.
Nailed it.
The doctors recommend an exorcism.
The doctors.
Because they think that she's got a mental condition where they believe an alien presence. They've convinced themselves an alien presence has taken over the body. So if they have an exorcism, it can actually help them kind of get over that. And that is actually something that has happened as well. A lot of cases of exorcisms with people who've not had these epilepsies or these abnormalities in their brain. It's actually a case that they have, either read a lot about exorcisms or are very religious. They think they have unwanted thoughts, or they must be possessed by a demon because they're a good Christian. How could this happen to them? And it's a downward spiral from there.
Yeah.
And going through the exorcism makes them actually think, oh, I'm okay.
Yeah, so the doctors at this point aren't arguing that it is an actual possession. They're arguing that having an exorcism would psychologically make her believe that the thing that is possessing her is not
it's
there.
Gone, and therefore it'll be
it's
okay.
Like a placebo exorcism.
And Mum's like, you saying I get a witch doctor? Now, witch doctors don't perform exorcisms in the traditional sense. I will say, though, if I had Witch Dr. Heaney instead of Father Heaney, Father Heaney gave a 3-hour sermon on shame. Witch Dr. Heaney made up some cool juice in a smoking skull mug.
If you put it all together and had Witch Dr. Rocky doing
I mean, I'm just saying, I didn't get the priest I felt I deserved growing up. I wanted a boxing witch doctor, instead I got a boring old guy.
So with films like this, I have a question for you. Every time someone mentions the title or something similar to the title, do you kind of notice it and wish they'd turn to camera as they say it?
The Exorcism.
Have you heard of an exorcism like that? I just wish that would happen. For those at home, I turned.
Yeah, he turned. He just didn't forget about audio quality there. That was a turning, and all the more reason why we should film these podcasts,
Yeah.
But no, you're absolutely right. That's something that I kind of wish, less so in horror movies.
Yeah.
Less so in horror movies that I'm taking very seriously. But I mean, I can't believe no one at any point during, episode 4, 5, or 6, when they're flying around the sky, go, Jesus, it's like wars amongst the stars.
It's a real shame they haven't said it.
They really haven't. No. That's why I'm happy that Disney have rebooted the franchise.
So we'll get someone saying...
Someone's going to correct that wrong. But yeah, when they say exorcism, an internal eyebrow was raised for me,
It always happens with any film when the title's been...
So the detective swings by the mother's house. He starts trying to figure shit out, and then very, very blatantly asks for an autograph.
Yeah, he's doing the whole, must have been killed by a very powerful man. Like a man.
Powerful men around here?
Yeah.
You've been hiding any powerful men? Do you know any powerful men,
And she's like, well, no.
No, sorry. I love his autograph.
Well, anyway.
His
Can my daughter get an autograph?
He's so, daughter looking for an autograph.
He falls at the first fucking hurdle. Like, oh, what's her name? It's for me.
What's your fake daughter's name?
Joni.
That's so fucked up.
Joni.
I was going to say Marceline, but I mean, that's because we watched Adventure Time recently.
Yeah.
You got to be a little more quick on your feet than that.
Joni.
Just saying, you ain't getting no autographs. Me, autographs out my wazoo.
For Marceline.
The best autographs for baby Marceline. Have you ever asked someone for an autograph?
Oh, the Chuckle Brothers when I was a little kid.
Oh my god, you fucking serious?
Yeah.
Did they oblige?
Yeah, they signed my programme when I went to see them at the Theatre Royal in Nottingham.
Oh yeah, that was a place which earlier I was telling you in detail why I think it
was
is
a dump.
Is so, I told them it was like a dump. It's like, I was in the Theatre Royal, and you're like, ugh. Like, yeah, it's a dump. Now let me tell you, even though you know it's a dump, why it's a dump. And I went on at a great length about it. But man, the Chuckle Brothers, that's we starstruck.
Yeah, I was nervous to meet them.
I was gonna say it's a nerve-wracking thing, isn't it, to ask people for autographs? Have you ever asked anyone and been turned down then or anything like that?
No, but the only times I've ever asked people for autographs is in pre-arranged autograph situations.
Because we met Stuart Lee for autographs.
Yeah.
But that seemed, that was okay. He sat down, he had a little desk,
Exactly.
He had his own pens.
I got him to sign Richard Herring's book thinking that would be funny, and he just
He
very
scratched his name
coldly
off.
said, yeah, there you go.
Because I asked unsuccessfully once Bono for an autograph.
Did you?
Yeah, I had broken my arm. I was 10 years old. My parents were in Dublin. We went to a restaurant to get lunch, and who was across? There's no one else in the restaurant. All the way over the corner, there was Bono and one of the cores, I think.
Right.
And I thought, fucking broken arm.
Yeah.
Broken arm.
Yeah, would garner some sympathy from
Go
Bono.
on, get a little bit of sympathy from this this so-called humanitarian.
African children, he's fine with helping, but a little old Irish chap.
And I come over and I say, excuse me, Mr. Bono, but could I have an autograph, please, and sign my cast? And he said, no thanks. And just turned and continued. And you know what he was eating as well?
Thanks.
You know what he was eating as well? He was actually legitimately eating caviar. He was eating caviar.
No.
He wouldn't even turn and look at me because he was too busy eating caviar with a fucking fancy pot. And I went back and what's all that black stuff they're eating? Oh, it's caviar. Hollywood elites. Motherfuckers, where's my gun? I broke my fucking arm.
Well, you should have asked him to sign your daughter's broken arm.
Probably.
Yeah.
Or broken my arm in another country, mate. Then he would have fucking... If I broke my arm while he happened to be somewhere else, maybe a little bit simpy. A little bit simpy.
Would have come over, given you an iPod, and then gone away.
Well, the last laugh came for the Mahon clan because my brother accidentally kicked Bono in the back when he was coming down the stairs once at a party. So there, take that, Bono.
Okay.
Yeah. So Mahon wins.
So, do all Irish people have an encounter with Bono?
No, it just so happens that in two very random, isolated instances, me and my brother happened to come across Bono in chance encounters.
Yeah.
Both of which ended badly.
Right.
One for me, one for Bono.
1-0. 1-0, 1-0.
1-0. It's on a football chat. Anyway, where are we now? Talk about
After the autograph.
I love his very smooth exit.
Yeah.
Because sometimes you're in a situation and you...
I've just remembered what it is.
Just remember, there's a lady and you like the lady.
Yeah.
Or there might be a boy and you like the boy or whatever. And you go, you're a very nice lady.
Oh, that's how you leave. That's how you leave any situation where you
And
just...
that person replies by saying...
You're a very nice man. She had to say that.
I tell you, probably out of the thousands and thousands, millions of hapless men or women who have used the phrase "you're a very nice lady" to entice someone in, I imagine the vast majority of them have gone back an awkward "you're a very nice man / lady" also.
It's to not, like, because if someone said, like, you're a very nice lady, and the lady said, okay, like that, it would crush them. And the sort of man who would say that would probably then become a bit freaky and weird.
I mean, I've not got much of a track record myself. There was once a girl I really liked back in my first year of uni. I said,
was she a very nice lady?
She was a relatively nice lady.
Okay.
Relatively nice lady. She was a bit racist, but she was a relatively nice lady. What are you going to do? And I said to her, I go, would you like to go out with me sometime? And she looked at me and she went, maybe. We'll see how it goes.
Oh,
maybe. I wanted you're a very nice... If I said, you want to go out with me sometime? You're a very nice man.
just walk away. That's a nice way to deal with that, actually. Because it's not a yes, but you'll still feel happy.
There's sorry, I almost said there's a pavlova in our bedroom. There's a palava in our bedroom.
Oh.
See what happens when Irish people try to come and take your words?
Yeah.
This is probably the most grotesque scene in the whole goddamn movie. And Sam is hitting his crotch with a pen right now to signify.
Now, it's not masturbating with a cross, is it?
Because these aren't the goods as described, because Joanna informed us when she was watching this that she had been wrongly told that this scene is her masturbating
with a crucifix. No.
And that ain't how you do that.
Well, I mean, if it is.
For some people, maybe.
I'm sure it is. But that was some proper, like, stabbing motions into the crotch there.
I mean, usually, instead of a crucifix, Vaseline might help. But that's just being old-fashioned, I guess. That is and just fucking blood everywhere. And screaming. She's screaming, lick me. But Jesus.
And something about your cunting daughter. And,
there's another sad face here beside that.
I've got a Jesus.
She smacks her mother as well.
Yeah.
And when she smacked her mother, that was another cases where they pulled on the kind of harness thing, and she actually got really sore. Apparently she got really banged up when the mother, when she got yanked across the room like that with that fucking smack.
It works though, it looks good. It's wrong and it hurt people, but...
Have you heard the talk about the production being cursed?
No.
Because there was a lot of talk that the production was cursed, and a lot of it centres around the fact that, so many injuries happened. There's in total, I believe, 9 deaths associated with the film itself.
Right.
As in either people, like the guy who played Burke, who dies in the movie, he also died before the movie came out.
Oh, okay.
Sam Blair's grandparents died.
Right.
There was one of the crew, they had like a toddler die as well. There was like a stillborn child. There was all this horrible shit that happened. So people always are convinced that, a lot of the injuries and the deaths and the horrible stuff that this movie is cursed, for lack of a better term. Before the movie started, and actually the production was delayed because the house where they were, Selma, but the house of the family, that was actually burnt down before they started filming. But apparently the only room that was left unharmed from the fire damage was actually the child's bedroom. So it's in the room where all the exorcism shit took place. That was fine. Rest of the house damaged from the fire. That's so fucking weird.
It is weird.
And as well, when this debuted in Rome, this is fucking awesome. Like, Joe just found all these great curse facts I'd heard about it. The place where it debuted in Rome, the premiere, it was between two churches, and during the film being screened, there was a really bad storm, and apparently a lightning struck one of the churches, and one of the crucifixes fell off and made a big crunk noise.
Oh god.
Fucking ridiculous. Yeah. It's so fucking weird. And you thought us watching the Passion of the Christ having bad audio and the wrong jack, you thought that was going to be a curse. That's a real curse. At least none of us died when we were doing that podcast,
Not yet.
Oh, now you're going to fuck. One of us is going to die eventually, I guess. Yeah. And when that happens, please make sure that the other has an exorcism, just in case.
Just in case.
Speaking of, Mum basically asked for an exorcism.
Yeah, how'd you go about getting an exorcism?
The priest is like, I don't really want to do it. And then he's like,
I need approval from my boss.
Yeah, they have to approve them all.
Really?
Yeah, they do. That has to be approved by the Vatican up, as far as I know these days, if they need to do it. So the priest decides to visit Regan, and Regan does her best Gabriel Byrne being the devil in End of Days, which is Arnold Schwarzenegger versus the devil. Might be one to do at some point. I figured you've not seen it. But she goes, I'm the devil! That's what Gabriel Byrne basically says in that movie. And the priest is trying to have a bit of a chat with Regan, and
so Regan says, your mother's with us. So she's saying that there's all these, dead spirits inside of her?
Yeah.
And your mum's in there, mate.
She knows that his mum is dead. And he's all freaked out by that.
And he's like, right. If my mum is in there, you're going to know her maiden name then, aren't you? Like, what is it? And then Regan just throws up on him horrible green slime puke.
And it goes in his goddamn mouth.
Which is proper, bank security style situation there. If you get the maiden name wrong, just throw up.
That is so fucking gross. It was apparently pea soup, bright green pea soup.
It looks greener coming out of her mouth and then slightly paler on his face.
To get the reaction from him, they told him that they were going to do it on his chest, and they fucked it right in his face. Seriously, that's the shit that the director was up to get those. That's so fucking horrible.
Yeah.
That's so fucking there's a lot of gack in this.
A lot of gack, a lot of gunk.
A lot of gack and a lot of gunk. And she also, as well, she replays stuff that he's heard in his head over and over again. Because earlier on, he sees the homeless guy, and he's like, hey, you used to be an altar boy, father, can you help me out?
Yeah.
The blind beggar that he sees. And then she starts saying that to him as he's wiping all the sick off his face. She's the fucking predator. She's going to do Billy's laugh next. So, even though he's been vomited in the mouth, he decides to give the old exorcism a go anyway.
Yeah, he does the proper priest stuff. He gets all...
holy water. He's trying... Well, he says actually it's tap water that he uses. Right. Not holy water.
So is he trying to psych her out?
Pretty much. He's trying to prove that it's not actually... Right. But I think what they're alluding to as well is that they're just going to act that way to make him think that he's done the exorcism so that he'll leave her alone.
Yeah.
Perhaps.
And it does burn. She's like, it burns.
Yeah.
Right?
Later after that, the maid shows the priest on her body.
Oh, there's the help
scar that reads "Help me." That's just that got two frowny faces in my notes.
It's grim, isn't it?
And the writhing as well. I probably have written lots of notes about it here because I'm just so fucking distressed by it. But when she's literally convulsing in the bed like that, it's so fucking distressing.
The backwards talking freaked me out as well. I don't know if they get that on the tape later and play it.
Oh yeah, the backwards speech is fucking. It's so fucking weird and so fucked up.
Do you know any stuff backwards that you can say?
Yes, I do actually.
What do you know?
If you say Stull Calbet and you reverse it, it goes the Black Lodge. I know that because I'm a big Twin Peaks fan. I used to have a radio show back in the day called the Black Lodge, and I would get everyone to say, just random people say, yo, say Stull Calbet, and I would reverse it and play it between songs.
Yeah.
Do you know anything?
Mine's just Neil Pach Mass,
what does that
which
mean?
is Sam Chaplin. And so I used to have an app which would on my phone, when I first got an iPhone, that would play stuff backwards. So I'd say that into it.
Remember when you were a kid getting your first iPhone Never got into Woolworths, get an iPhone. God,
so
with your pocket money.
It'll play it backwards like Sam Chaplin, like that.
Yeah.
And I was showing this to like my girlfriend at the time. I was like, "Oh, listen to this." It went Sam Chaplin. It's like, why have you recorded yourself talking like that? Like she thought that I'd just gone Sam Chaplin into the machine and showed her me saying it in a funny voice.
I know, so there's another one. Any of you Irish fans back at home, if you say Navan, it'll go Navan. And Navan is a town in County Meath, and when people say Navan, they go Navan. Oh. So Navan, Stulkalbet, and
Neil Packmas.
Neil Patrick Harris, and that's the other one.
Play that back to Sam Chaplin.
Neil Patrick Harris, the kind of the mirror version of him is Sam. That's basically what we're applying here.
Oh, with the help me thing, this is probably not good for the podcast, but with the help me thing, in my notes, everything I do is in capital letters, but I put the help me in the lowercase that it wasn't.
Oh, it's very dark right in there.
So if you get that in your t-shirt package,
it's as good a place as any to take one side and kind of go, hey, if you love Cinema Swirl and you want to support us, there are t-shirts available from our Etsy store.
As long as you are large or medium.
As long as you're large or medium. So if you're like regular, not a freak and extra large like me, then you can get yourself a shirt. Merrin and Karis. So Merrin is the old priest from the start.
He comes back.
He comes back.
It's not just there for no reason.
No, he is there. You see the kind of higher up cardinals, and they're like, oh, he's been in northern Iraq doing research. And he's done these types of things before. He's experienced in the art of the exorcism. Yeah. So Merrin and Karis basically form KM, the greatest mega power super group that there ever was.
Yeah, Merrin turns up in a taxi, gets out and recreates the DVD cover, which is very nice. And
I love when people do that, don't they? They kind of like recreate paintings and DVD covers and all that. It's good. Guess how old Merrin is?
1,000.
Lower.
Guess how old he's in the film?
No, the actor.
Now.
No, the actor in the film.
At the time of the film?
Yeah.
70?
He's 44.
What?
44.
What?
What if I told you the actor who played him is also in Game of Thrones and was in the last Star Wars movie that just came out? He's only 80-something now. He was 44 back then. It's all makeup and special effects.
Why didn't they just get an old man?
Don't know. You know the way Hollywood is, they won't hire any, if they can get a young guy to play an old guy.
Get a youngie.
It's fucked up, isn't it?
Yeah.
Like almost as much makeup as the exorcism girl, I guess.
I guess so.
It's fucking convincing.
Yeah, I thought he was an old man.
Because that is not something you would have thought looking at him.
No.
Fucking crazy.
You
just everything you believe is just shot.
Yeah. I'm going to watch it again just to look at how old he is.
I don't think it's worth distressing yourself that much just to confirm how old someone is. That's why you've Googled
No, let's pause here. Go back down and watch it.
Watch the whole thing. Yeah. Lots of cow sounds coming when Merrin and Karis are trying to get set up.
Yeah, like there's old tubes that would make cow sounds when you took them back.
I found those freaky as a kid.
Yeah.
And you thought that she was possessed by a cow at this point. Is that it?
Yeah.
Merrin.
Well, there's like all sorts of dead people in there, so they may as well throw in like a cow as well.
A dead cow impersonator.
Not a cow. A cow impersonator.
There's big money if you can do it well, man.
Exactly.
There's a niche market for everything, even film podcasts.
Yep.
Merrin gives very, very strict instructions. He's basically, the demon will try and, lure you in. Do not listen. Do not like or retweet anything she tweets at all. Even subtweeting bars. Regan is full rude and blued comedy here. You fucking cunts coming in. Why don't you fuck him up the arse then? In his fucking bum when you're willy. You fucking cocksucking knobheads.
I would have loved it if she spoke like that.
Rude, you big bastard. I fucking hate all these people coming over here, getting rid of all our demons. You fucking bastards.
Meat pie, sausage roll, your mother sucks cocks in hell.
Give us the go. Ooh, we got a godly soul. It's fucking... this bit is so fucking horrible here.
Yeah, it's the big bit.
There's spit on Merrin and it's just like yellowy brown grunk.
Yeah, it looks like it would be like toxic and burn a bit.
Your mother sucks cocks in hell line, which is often like... That's the one...
line.
Had you heard that one before?
I've heard that before, yeah.
It's really just kind of one of many in a slew. And
there's much
fucking
worse.
Deluge of horrible shit. shit.
It's quite tame in comparison to everything else, isn't it?
It is. It's kind of like just one of many.
Maybe that's why that's the quoted one, because it's like easy to remember and doesn't have the word cunt in it.
I guess so.
Yeah. There's no actual swearing in there unless you count cocks as a swear word.
Yeah, I mean, like, hey, if I'm going to be in hell and it's just fucking decadence, you know, I mean, if people are going to do oral sex, then so be it.
Yeah.
Could be worse.
That's the spirit.
Why? Is it better than kind of, oh, your mother's in hell and she'll never have any sort of sexual pleasure ever again? That's fucking shit.
Yeah.
And hell's sounding a little okay at the moment compared to heaven, which we know nothing about, by the way.
You know what? Good point, mate.
I'm just saying.
Good point, well made.
Good point, well made.
Yeah.
There's a Catholic coming out of me there. Little kid in glass. Wouldn't be so bad though, would it, if you're just having your genitalia worked over the whole time you're there?
Yeah, but it's not like your mother receives oral sex in hell.
Oh.
She's sucking cocks. What's she getting out of it? Hell
is basically like a non-reciprocal relationship.
Yeah.
Hell is Dwayne "The Rock" Johnson talking about eating pie is what we're talking about here.
Yeah.
It's all talk, all hype, nothing action, no reality, no substance.
No trousers.
They do the plot synopsis for the Passion of the Christ. They're talking about Jesus and all the sacrifices, and then there's that weird scene with the fucking weird baby, and it's all weird and shit, and it freaked us all out.
Yeah.
And it was so scary we didn't do an episode for 7 months. The power of Christ compels you. Reagan hates it. Absolutely hates it.
Doesn't like it.
Furious, livid when she hears all of this talk of God. We have Noel's house party slowly escaping from her mouth.
Got the creepy tongue, and then like
gunk.
Proper bright green gunk.
And it's so thick, and it's like pumping out of her as well.
Yeah. It's definitely coming out of her mouth.
Coming out of her, whatever.
Is that a human being's mouth that's coming out of?
I don't
know how they would do that.
There
must be some special thing.
Pump that's hidden underneath, maybe, because she's got all those scars. You could easily hide a little pump through one of those scars. I'm guessing.
It looks really gross.
But it was pulsating out of her at such a rate that I expected tiny Noel Edmonds to be like, oh God, and wipe it off his eyes. The power of Christ compels you.
If at one point Reagan had done like a blobby bit, it would have been very funny.
We finally found a way to make Mr. Blobby scarier. Good job. So Merrin basically cuts a promo at this point. Like, he's full on like, let me tell you something about the Passion of Christ, the power and the glory. And it's not me. I'm talking about the big man upstairs. He's coming for you, Megan. And this Sunday, in the steel cage, the power of Christ will compel you, dude. Her head spins round.
We get the head twist that I know about. Yeah.
Unfortunately, Pete Burns sadly passing away recently, but her head spins right round, baby, right round.
Like a record.
Right round.
Horrible, isn't it?
It is. You see it coming.
Yeah.
Because you knew that, didn't you, going in?
Yeah.
But still...
I've probably even seen like a gif of it or something, like some kind of...
But they do it in The Simpsons where Maggie's head turns around as a joke. Yeah. And it's like, it seems so tame, kind of... It's used so much you wouldn't think it would have any impact on your culture.
Now, here's a reference that perhaps even some listeners to Cinema Swirl might not now get because it's quite old. In the maybe early 2000s on the internet, there was Flash content, like games and stuff. And if ever there was a jump scare in the game, it was like, oh,
that's the face.
Follow this maze, look very carefully at the thing, and then it would be the face of Reagan with all the fucked up stuff, and then like a big screaming sound, and it would scare the shit out of you. It was always that face.
You're right.
It's like the default jump scare face.
The one I know is like the car slowly driving along and it goes
and then it has the...
Oh, now I'm doing it. I'm worse than you. Boo! Spooky Swirl.
Yeah. So maybe I've recognised her from that.
She starts floating.
Yes. Legit floating.
Floating. Not like Modest Mouse float on. We're talking more like kind of it. They all float, like not good floating.
It's like U2 levitation.
You could have went with the Pixies, but you went back to that prick Bono. Cheers. Yep. That's fucking 3 mentions he's gotten now. This is awful.
This is so you'll get your autograph.
If you look, Bono, if you just send us the autograph, then we'll stop gratuitously mentioning you. That was it. Season 1 and Season 2, we were really trying.
If there's one thing he hates, it's promotion himself.
He hates that. He absolutely, it's the worst.
Yeah.
Season 1 and 2, we were trying to get advertisers. I think now we should just harass celebrities to get free autographs.
Yeah.
Mate, they sell for loads.
Yeah. If we can get some.
I was in Empire Exchange earlier. Some of them autographs go £10-20. I'm talking about big money.
Big ticket items.
Nearly there. sure. So Marion has to go take a little bit of a break. Like, he needs a bit of a relax.
Yeah, it's like they're working a shift, isn't it? They're
He's
like
taking his pills.
I'm taking my union-required break
Every 15 minutes, like,
Yeah.
you know? So he takes these pills, you see some taking them back in Iraq, and I think it's implied that he's got, like, I need my heart pills, or something like that. Like,
they look like breath mints to me.
They do, don't they?
They look really yummy.
They look like little stevia, actually, you know? Just two, because he doesn't trust the clicker, because sometimes you click twice, but two don't go in.
Right, I'm going to sound like the biggest fucking idiot. You know, I was like, oh, they look like breath mints. I legit didn't realise they were pills. I thought he was just like having a mint for some reason, but was all shaky.
So bad.
I couldn't put two and together because they look so much like little stevia mints.
Yeah, they do.
Yeah.
And I guess maybe anything that has a little pillowy kind of perfect case like that.
It didn't look like a pill bottle or anything, did it?
It looks like they were
case.
cherished.
Yeah.
Whatever they were.
They might be a gift from the church.
Regan pretends to be Karis's mama, and it's fucked up. It's so gross. When she's like talking to her voice, he gets to him.
The bit where he walks in and it is her. Like, he sees her on the bed. Horrible. And then she has the voice.
Merrin dies. He passes out and he collapses, and like Karis goes over and starts, slamming on his chest, trying to get his heart going again.
Yeah.
Like the idea, like it's like so much overwhelms him. And in the moment that I've seen this movie, a couple of times now, I guess, and it never gets easier seeing him just jump on the kid and start beating them. Like, even after all this stuff has happened.
Yeah, and you know that it's not the actual kid, but then it's
and he's like, take me, and then
it does.
Demon goes into him, he's like, and then he jumps out the fucking window.
Well, they could have done that way earlier, couldn't they? Could have got some patsy, just brought him in and said, just hold on to this girl and say, take me.
I think the idea is that the girl had been weakened by the exorcism.
Right.
I guess that the host was weakened, so it wanted to leave.
Jump to something stronger.
Something stronger.
Yeah.
But yeah, flings out the window, crashes his head open, goo goes everywhere.
Does he momentarily, is he able to resist the possession? Because you see his eyes go all fucked up, and he's like, and he's like, no, and then jumps out the window.
Yeah.
Is that him exercising one last bit of strength to kill himself to stop?
Who knows?
I thought that's what it was.
I thought it was that. Yeah, I thought that as well. That he takes it into his body and then like he expels it and he dives out.
Sacrifice
or the demon launches him out.
Could be.
And kind of a last like, well, if I can't have you, then I'll have no one and you'll die.
Yeah.
That kind of a thing. You'll have to tune into Exorcist 2 find out.
Are there any sequels?
Yes, there are many sequels.
Really?
Yes.
They're not like proper sequels, are they?
I'll be honest, I think I saw like one of them randomly once. The kind of stuff that used to go on like 2 a.m. on Sci-Fi Channel. I remember watching one of them and it being like just like a different movie, I guess. It's using the title and the name, but it's like you don't have this plot. It's weird.
Yeah.
So there's other movies, but none of them, they're not iconic like
it's
this.
Such a self-contained story, doesn't it?
Yeah, it doesn't need.
Yeah.
It feels like it doesn't need. It just feels like it's kind of stringing stuff along almost.
Yeah.
But yeah, we have the kind of really sad moment where Karis's mate from the start comes over and starts reading him the last rites.
Yeah.
And a horrible factoid I found out was that to get him psyched up for that, he had the actor get slapped right in the face right before he went and did it to have him all shook up and all teary. He's got whoosh.
No, this film.
You gonna do it like
the production is like
it's mad. There's actually a documentary about it, which kind of details. It's very almost like Trout Mask replica. Like everyone kind of went a bit mad making this fucking shit, stuff burning down, everyone eating lima beans, covering shit in tinfoil, slapping everyone. We get the kind of final shots of girls. The girl is okay.
Yeah, she looks so
different. Yeah,
it's not. It was really like refreshing to see her back to normal. It just but
you kind of get the feeling that she's never gonna be the same.
Something still. Like
she's been affected by
and then there's that little coin thing, that little what's that? Why are they handing that back and forth? What's going on there? I don't like that.
Could just be that you want to go and watch the sequels, because I'm sure the sequels detail all that shit, because I know that there are characters who return. I know Selma Blair's character comes back in the sequel,
right,
like as a more grown up version of herself, etc. So.
And the detective at the end gets to go for lunch with a priest, I guess.
Yeah,
and that's the end.
But hey, everyone's happy.
Yeah, apart from the 2 dead priests.
Oh yeah, those guys. Well,
yeah.
Well,
But yeah,
you want to make an omelette, you got to kill a few priests. You know what I'm saying?
Yeah.
So The Exorcist, a scary one.
Yeah.
You know what? I always think back and kind of go, I wonder how much that fucked up Selma Blair, the actress who played Reagan. Because for a young kid to do that, what a fucking powerhouse. I mean, there's obviously special effects and makeup, but those words were coming out of her a lot of that time, and just particularly the earlier stuff before it's all makeup and voice distortion.
Yeah.
It's so fucking, Jesus Christ, it's just chilling.
Yeah,
it
she's
really,
very good
really
in
is. I know that she herself actually had an IRL after this. She had like death threats and stuff.
Really?
From people who thought, that she was evil, because there's a lot of preachers who were like, oh, this movie is
yeah.
evil, and everyone associated with it as evil, and thought, oh, this girl is evil, and she had to have bodyguards from the studio like follow her around and all this stuff for ages afterwards, because she had all these death threats. Powerhouse performance by her, but the movie overall, has it touched you in a way you didn't expect it to? Is it as scary as you thought it would be? Did it live up to the hype of being like, oh, this is a fucking proper pants-wettingly scary movie?
It was big scary. Big scary. Scary film. Horrible. I guess there is some, there's probably scarier films you could watch. In fact, there's definitely scarier films you could watch.
There are movies out there that you're confident would scare you more.
Yes.
Yeah, me too.
But in terms of, the quality of the scaring...
I think as well, so much of what makes this movie so universally regarded as being so scary, because I know there's movies that we could watch which I would probably find scarier than you, and vice versa, because everyone has different strokes for different folks.
Yeah, it's basic scarenomics.
For fuck's sake. But so much of, I think, what makes this so scary is the fact that the themes of the scariness is such a wide appeal. You're talking about, this is a big hit over in the Western world, where our main religion is Christianity, and this challenges a lot of stuff about Christianity. Yeah. It also challenges a lot of stuff about kids, about, losing control of your kid or being helpless if your kid gets sick. I mean, I don't know if you've seen, we need to talk about Kevin, but certainly a lot of that
similar kind
reflects in here, that you are helpless. And also as well, I think just playing off the fact that you as an audience member, certainly now, I can only imagine in fucking 1973, you don't expect to see certain things coming out of a kid's mouth, whether it be gunge, swear words.
Yep.
You don't expect to see scarring, you don't expect to see them get hit, you don't expect to see them hit other people. There's so much you think that's just against the rules of cinema. And I guess that's maybe why it was banned. I mean, so many stuff that was banned, like Dusk Till Dawn was banned, when I was a kid.
Was it?
I know, because it was demonic. But I mean, so much of the stuff that was banned in our own, you kind of feel that was dumb.
Yeah.
But this, it's going to sound awful, but I do see why it was banned. I get it. This was society as a whole in 1973. I don't think polite society was ready to see this.
No.
And that speaks more, I guess, to society then than now, but fucking hell.
But even now, we're not looking at it and thinking, oh, that was really tame, what were they worried about? It's still this is actually freaky and horrible.
That was, you tried to taste that soup and it was scalding, and here we are 33 years later.
Still warm.
43 years later, and it's still a little bit hot.
Yeah.
You can't eat it too quick. You gotta pace yourself, gotta take in some air. You gotta slurp. You gotta slurp when you're watching a movie like this.
It's not gonna burn you, but you need to be careful.
So, if you were to give this a scary star wipe rating.
Ooh, Spooky Swirl. See, it's not a perfect movie or anything.
What were, if there's any kind of main detracting points? I know you said some of the filming stuff, the zooms took you out of it.
Yeah, it does take a little while to get into it.
It's a long ass movie.
And I can't tell whether I really enjoyed it or whether I was just really freaked out, but it's difficult with horror films to be how good was this?
Yeah.
I don't like it, but then that's because I'm scared by it, but I think it's very good.
Because I think with The Shining you had a similar reaction, and it's only in future episodes you were like, oh, by the way, you love that movie, you couldn't process it then, so it's a difficult one to judge.
So at the moment I'm feeling 4 star wipes.
Well, you heard it here first. Boom!
Thank you for listening to this week's episode of Cinema Swirl. This episode was produced by Kevin, was edited by me, Sam, and the music was also by me. You can vote for our upcoming episodes over at facebook.com/Cinema Swirl. And as always, you can follow us on Twitter, that's @CinemaSwirl. If you have any questions, queries, comments, please send them on in to cinemaswirl@gmail.com. That's cinemaswirl@gmail.com. Don't forget, you can buy t-shirts over at Etsy, just search for Cinema Swirl. You can now buy all the jingles at Bandcamp, that's cinemaswirl.bandcamp.com. You can buy a ringtone on iTunes, just search for Cinema Swirl. You can leave a review on iTunes or whatever podcast thing you use, but most of all, just come back next time. See ya! Bye.
Black Lush,
Sam Kaplan,
Navin,